arrived in Porto by car from Lisbon. So the drive was it took us about 4 hours, and the hardest part was driving into the narrow streets of the Porto city. But we did pre-book an underground car parking space, so it made it a lot more simple to actually find somewhere to park. The car park was actually only a 2-minute walk from our accommodation. We stayed just outside the Ribeira area, which is the original medieval and riverfront. And the area surrounding our accommodation was very colourful and filled with beautiful narrow streets, and had the beautiful Portuguese tiles, and we were pretty close to the Douro River. So day one, well actually it was already the afternoon when we arrived in Porto, but we decided to start exploring straight away. We just explored the area around us. We found this beautiful Miradouro, spotting colourful buildings, and even sat in a park area just outside Base Bar, where we took in the relaxed nature of the city. Porto very quickly won us over. It was definitely one of my favourite cities in Spain and Portugal. So day 2 in Porto, we tried to pack in as much as possible as we only had one full day in the city. We started the day going to a cafe, and the cafe was the furthest away from our accommodation, so we made our way back, stopping at many shops along the way. We mostly went into food shops, trying to find the sardines, which are so famous in Portugal. We wanted to buy them from a more local shop, so we did attempt to get them in Lisbon, but there were a lot of touristy places selling them. But we did eventually find a local deli where we purchased the sardines from. We also found a Portuguese chocolate shop where we bought gifts for our family. We also got a pastel de nata because when in Portugal. After food, we went inside the Bento railway station. The train station opened in 1916 and so beautifully ties into the surrounding architecture of Porto. The building was designed by architect José Marques da Silva in the French Beaux Arts style. The station was built in the former 16th century Benedictine convent of São Bento de Ave Maria, and the tiles inside depict pivotal moments in Portuguese history. Even if not catching the train, it's a must-see and free activity in Porto. I'm obsessed with Art Deco architecture, so I was very keen to visit the Casa de Serralves, which is a modern art museum around a historic pink villa. It was built between 1925 and 1944 by the same architect as the train station. Other elements surrounding the Art Deco building, including a treetop walk, modern art sculptures in the gardens. There was even a performance art piece. The best part about this is it's not located in the centre of Porto, which means that there are less tourists. I found it such a peaceful place and a great way to reset and feel inspired. last full day in Porto, we decided to do a day trip to the Duoro Valley. The Duoro Valley is a UNESCO World Heritage Region north of Porto, which is roughly around a 2-hour drive. We didn't properly plan this day, and we had last minute booked a boat ride on the Duoro River, which left from the town of Pinhão. As we were there in peak time, we couldn't find a car park when we arrived, which meant we were too late to catch the boat. Luckily, the boat company was super nice and let us catch it in the next time slot for no additional charge. While we waited for the next boat, we found the Vintage House Hotel. We sat outside the terrace and drank a port and tonic. The views were amazing, and it was like we were meant to miss our boat just so we could sit and enjoy the view. The boat ride was incredibly touristy, and we felt we couldn't enjoy the views, but it was nice to see the valley and wine terraces from the water. By the time the river cruise was done, it was 3 o'clock and we were very hungry. I had saved some wineries on Google Maps, and the one that looked like it served food at the time was Quinta de Pôpa. The views were amazing, and we had a wine tasting with a charcuterie board of smoked meats and cheeses. It wasn't the most substantial lunch, but it was all we could find at the time. We were still so hungry, so we tried to find a bakery. There was one on Google Maps which appeared to be open. We ended up in a very small village with no one around. We couldn't even find a shop, let alone the bakery, which Google did say was open. In the end, we decided to just snack on some treats we bought with us in case of an emergency, such as nuts, chocolate and dry biscuits, and made the 2-hour drive back to Porto. It was a bit of a rush day, but if I was to do the Duoro Valley again, I would definitely stay a couple of nights there. It's such a beautiful, relaxing place, and I wish we could have just spent hours just admiring the view, but instead we kind of only really had a short time, and it was very tiring driving 4 hours that day, which we didn't prepare for. So I think definitely if I was to go to the Duoro Valley again, I would stay. Our final night in Porto, we decided to give the dinner scene one last chance, and we walked a little bit further into the city centre. We decided to go to this hotel, which looked to have very different food, and it ended up being really, really nice. Then decided to take an evening stroll along the Douro River. We found that it was very busy right near the main bridge, but when we walked closer to our accommodation, it got really quiet, and it was almost a bit too quiet. But it did still feel safe, so it was fine to walk at night alone, but I would say that it's probably not as well lit as I would have liked. So this is the living room. Okay. This stuff. Bed. Bathroom. And kitchen. We're off to Madrid, last stop in Europe, so last drive of the trip, and it's a long one. See you in Madrid. I am now reflecting on our trip to Porto in 2023, and I'm just editing my videos. I just had some thoughts. I'm We only stayed there for 3 nights, and I think that is definitely not enough time to see the city. We also wanted to go to the Duoro Valley, which is a bit of a drive, and if you don't stay there, it's a whole day trip, and even that's not really enough to touch the surface. So I think 3 nights is definitely not enough in Porto. We didn't even actually see the other side of the bridge, so we were staying in like the old town area. We didn't go on the cable car, which I wanted to do. I wanted to go to like port wine tastings in the actual city. We didn't even actually explore many other areas aside from that kind of old town area, which I think is a real shame because it is such a beautiful city. It's probably one of my favourites, and it just has such a relaxed vibe. We were enjoying like just sitting and taking it all in. There's beautiful views. You've got the river. You've even got the beach nearby, which we didn't even get to explore either. There's multiple day trips you can do as well. We had 5 nights in Lisbon and 3 in Porto. I actually think I would have preferred to do at least 4 and 4, but that's okay. That's why I investigate these things and hopefully help somebody else out.